Welcome to the first ever Creative Train podcast. Creative Train is for artists, content creators, performers, students, and teachers alike. We all share the passion of inspiration, creation, and hopefully satisfaction in our creative efforts. And Creative Train is here to help you learn, focus, and how to keep your students engaged and growing with you. All aboard? Here we go. Hi, folks. My name is Mark Novoselic, and I'm a musician, audio engineer, glass artist, music teacher, and now a creativity coach. So, what's a creativity coach and who could possibly need one? People can just doodle, can't they? Well, if you've ever felt blocked in your creative endeavors, struggling or struggled with writer's block, or you have trouble aligning your day-to-day tasks with your long-term creative goals, or you're battling self-doubt or the dreaded imposter syndrome, or maybe you feel your well of new ideas has run dry, or the muse seems to have finally given up on you. If any of this resonates, that's where I, as a creativity coach, can come in. So my goals as a creativity coach are to help you explore and embrace your creative potential, to provide emotional support and motivation, because it's not easy when you're trying to overcome these creative blocks. That self-doubt thing is so real. It can make you just abandon projects, abandon your materials, abandon your studio. You don't want to do that. So what we do is we set realistic and attainable short and long-term goals and develop plans, very clear plans, concise plans, day-to-day, hour-to-hour plans, so you can achieve those goals. I can happily give you constructive feedback on your projects, and it's not just music. I am not just a musician, and we don't have to just talk about music. I love to cook, and I found that one of the greatest analogs when talking about problems in music or any other creative approach is food. Now, what's the connection between that and food? When we're talking about creative projects like music or something like that, music is mostly, for most people, something they hear, or they don't really listen anymore. A lot of the time, people hear music. Unless you're a musician and you're playing music, there's no tactile sensation to music. But with food, you've got taste, you've got color, you have scent, you have temperature, you have salt and sweet, you have texture. There's almost all of your senses are involved in food. And the analog between creating good music and good food is so strong. It's like language, right? You can't separate the word from the letters. Neither can you separate the artist from their creations. This is something I'm super passionate about. Anybody that spent any time with me, like longer than 5 minutes, we've either talked about food or music or creativity in some kind of way. It's just true. So there's techniques that you can use. And I'm not talking about like how to sharpen your pencil or how to tune your guitar or anything like that. It's mental techniques, thinking techniques, day-to-day techniques that you can think differently with. So you approach problems differently. You think creatively. You're not just working on honing an artistic ability. You're learning how to think differently. And that's a big, big thing to change. And just like in sports, the coach is a part of the team. They're not some random outside influence that happens to holler directions into the change room. They share in the successes and the failures of their team. And together, they work under a unified direction that gets results. And there's lots of successful sports coaches who, despite not having played professionally, learned the game through study and observation. They understand the strengths and the weaknesses of each team member and formulate practice regimens for the individuals and for the team so that during gameplay, all the players work together to achieve their highest goals. And in creativity, any kind of creativity, these same principles apply. There's no strict rules. There's no game set book on how to be creative. Each person requires unique support and guidance, but every individual has the potential to create amazing things. In my some 30 years of teaching music, I've had over 50,000 interactions with music students, one-on-one, some in groups, some in a recording studio. But I've had to learn 50,000 different ways, literally, to explain the same concepts to people. So that has me thinking really quickly all day long, and I love it. So I've had students with lots of different motivations. Some are forced to come to music lessons and they don't want to do anything. Some are really inspired to learn how to read music. So maybe they can go on to like post-secondary studies in college or university. Others just want to be the campfire troubadour, learn how to play by ear, learn 6 or 8 of their favorite tunes, and they're happy. But regardless, there's a common thread among all those people tying us all together. And that's the love of music and a desire to create it. So when students feel stuck, when my music students feel stuck, one really potent rut buster I like to use is to explore songwriting. Now, that's not to tell people that they have to become a songwriter, they have to change their motivation and their goals and their directions. No. But what songwriting does in a musical context is it gets you to approach your practice time differently, where you're focusing on creation rather than repetition or playing by rote. That's been my job for 30 years now, and I think I'm getting pretty good at it. So that's what I'm offering to you as your creativity coach. I'll help you find new ways to use the tools you've already invested your time, energy, and money into, and unlock all of your creative, awesome potential along the way. Every day when I sit down to teach, I have to find maybe the 54,000th way to explain the same idea to somebody, because I understand that everybody thinks differently. Everybody needs to have direction given to them differently. Everybody has different pressure points in their emotions and their creativity where they need to be pressed or they don't want to be pressed. And that's my job. I have to explain the essentials of being a creative thinker 50,000 different ways. There was a really neat quote I saw online, and I can't remember who it was attributed to, so I'll paraphrase it. And the quote goes like this: "Do you have a problem you just can't seem to fix? Ask an artist." And I'm like, that actually resonates with me really quite deeply, because the artist has to become accustomed to thinking outside of the box. An artist who doesn't think outside of the box will pursue their creativity by reproducing or replicating all those things around them that they saw at one point that first inspired them to get involved in trying to create art. So when faced with any kind of challenges, my creative mindset is always at the forefront, trying to find solutions that are out of the ordinary without getting bogged down by the problem itself. And for any creative project, my approach has to be consistent. I always want to be unique. I always let my imagination guide me. I try to find innovative ways to accomplish the same thing over and over again if I have to do those kind of things. And I've learned the rules, and I've also been unafraid to break them. I take risks with an open mind because I have to. My career has depended on my flexibility that way, to learn the rules, break them, explain them in a way that sets it out fairly plainly for each student. So I give them their things to practice, give them their things to think about and do, and then set them on their way and then see them again and see how they've done. So this kind of mindset, if you're extrapolating this possibility of a creativity coach in your life, this mindset goes way beyond just artistic pursuits. In any social or business situation, your spontaneity and mental agility can be the difference between success and failure. So the role of a creativity coach is not to be a how-to guide for learning new skills for you. There are things that we can do. I can show you how to play guitar and various other instruments. I can guide you through songwriting. But my mission as a creativity coach is to bring my passion and empathy and patience and an understanding of my own creative mind to help you connect with your own inner artist or creative thinker. It's the goal setting, the motivation, and encouragement in the wonderful process of discovering yourself as an artist and as a person. Okay, thank you folks for checking out the very first episode of the Creative Train podcast. We're coming to you from Ontario, Canada on a very rainy day today. You may be able to hear the rain tinkling off my skylight in my home studio here. I apologize for that, but I think it brings a level of authenticity to this. You know what I mean? So as I get closer to publishing my website, I'm going to have some updates about things that you're going to find there, but it's all going to revolve around creative thinking, not just how to be a better artist, creative thinking. But it's going to have content that you as a student, but also content for people who are teachers looking for ways to teach, new ways, new ideas, how to inspire or re-inspire maybe somebody who's lost their confidence. I am a constant student, and I've been a teacher for over 30 years, so I've got some chops that I want to give to you. So I hope you stay in touch. I hope you check out the next episode. Maybe give this a share if you think you know somebody who might be interested in checking out what we're going to be doing here on the Creative Train podcast. And thank you again for listening. Have a wonderful day.